This music scarf, dyed using colored resist, is just one of many techniques for dyeing silk. You can paint on resist and dye with brushes, sprinkle salt on wet dyes, print a resist with leaves and dye over them, paint on stripes of dye, or hand draw resist lines, fill with dye, and sprinkle with salt. See scrunchies, scarves, and more on our website at silkfromthehearts.com. To create contrast with the music notes, I use dark resist on light dye and light resist on dark dye, with 5 shades of light to dark brown resist to draw the notes and the dividing lines, and 23 colors of dyes in cool, warm, and reddish browns, olive green, peach, and denim. You can mix water-based resists in any color and pour them into fine-tip squeeze bottles to draw with. The trick is getting the right color and consistency so the resist will penetrate the silk but not spread too much. Adding too much liquid dye makes the resist too runny, so I added powdered dye for the dark colors. As both a musician and a fabric artist, I naturally wanted to make a music-themed silk scarf. I made a sheet of music notes and symbols to use so I can find one the shape and size I need to fill the space without being too crowded. Most often, resists are used to draw the outline of the subjects, which are then filled in with dyes. Here I'm drawing the music notes themselves with resist, and I'll be filling in the dyes for the background. This design could be done with fabric paints, but paint has some stiffness to it while the resist completely rinses out, leaving the design in the soft silky fabric. If you do get resist where you don't want it, quickly dab it with a wet cotton swab and a dry paper towel from below, being careful not to mess up your design. One challenge is keeping your hand as steady as possible, so I brace one arm over the other for stability. Where a resist line meets the hem, squeeze the resist into the hem under pressure from both sides because the tiniest break will allow the dye colors to leak through. When I fill the background with dye, you'll see how the wavy resist lines going across separates the sections of color. You can use a disappearing fabric pen if it helps to draw your design first. The light purple line will fade away in a couple hours or when it gets wet. It's hard to see the color of the resist when you're putting it on. Even a light colored resist looks dark. It's wise to test resist colors in advance and shine a light through from behind to see how the colors might turn out. Once the resist is dry, we can begin dyeing it. The dark resist I can easily dye over with lighter dyes, but the light resist I have to go around with the darker dyes so it doesn't darken the notes, change the color, and lose the contrast. It helps having a clear table to work on with lights coming from below because otherwise it's hard to see the colors and how well they are blending. The dyes will blend together some on their own, but sometimes need a little help to get a smooth gradation of color. I plan out my colors ahead of time with sticky notes on the frame, so I balance a variety of colors across the scarf. Earth tone colors are great because there are so many, they all go together, and many people wear them. This may look pretty quick, but I sped up the video 40 times, so this 3-minute time lapse really took 2 hours to draw the notes and dye the scarf. The one failure I've had with this design is if the light-colored resist turns out too dark, you can't see the notes. I like the simplicity of the solid colors, but you could sprinkle the wet dyes with salt if you wanted a pattern, which would also cover up any mistakes that you make. You can see here how hard it is to see both the resist and the dye colors with light only coming from above. With the light shining below through the silk, we get a much better idea what the finished scarf will look like. Since it's hard to remove dye or resist from silk once you get it on there, if you make a mistake, just reverse the video and then you get nice white silk all over again. Once the dyes have dried, I roll the scarves in blank newsprint, hang it inside my homemade steamer so it doesn't touch the sides, and steam it for 3 hours. Then we unroll it, let the scarves dry a bit, then rinse them in cool water, then soak in dye set for a half hour, then rinse again and put in Millsoft in hot water for 10 minutes, then rinse in cold water and iron. Now we can finally see how the design and the colors all turned out. Since the resist all rinsed out, it just leaves the design on the silk. The dyes actually become part of the fabric, and using Millsoft, the silk is softer after it's dyed than it was before we started. If you enjoyed this video or learned something, feel free to comment or ask questions below, and please subscribe to our channel to help support me in making more videos. Thanks for watching.